Paul, we got another showcase to do. You excited?
George, I'm so fired up. I love tools. I love seeing the innovation that is happening in the industry, and it's fun to get together and talk about them.
Well, and being in the position we're in, where we get to talk about them amongst ourselves, but then also share that with people. You ready to look at one?
Let's do it.
Here we go.
Well, this is a fun setup for me, George, because I've been a fan of these spiral router bits for a long time. You turned me onto them maybe 12, 15 years ago, long time ago. I love the precision and the durability. These things hold their edge so well. I love and I use both the upcut and the downcut. And the way that I keep that straight in my mind is upcut is for getting wood up and out, evacuating wood. Downcut is for keeping wood down, keeping it from chipping out as you're doing fine precision work. I use the upcut a lot more because I use it for plowing things out, dados and mortises, but those the downcut are really handy to have as well.
And the other one we have in the mix here are the compression bits, which then give you really the best of both worlds. The bottom end of the bit, if you're in a vertical position, is an upcut, and then the rest of the bit is a downcut, yeah. So you're getting the perfect marriage. And especially if you're doing a through cut on sheet goods where you have veneer on two faces, that compression bit is so good at protecting both faces from having blowout. And I'm a big CNC guy. You are not. But one of the things that's so important to understand is that these are not exclusively CNC cutters.
Good point. They seem to have been kind of pigeonholed from a perception standpoint, and I think there's just so much applicability in handheld routing, table routing.
Well, a good cut is a good cut.
Absolutely.
And the features and benefits you get from using a good quality bit in a CNC are the same features you want in a handheld router or a router table. So in the video, we did everything handheld, and let's have a look at that to see the joinery that was done there. Let's talk about making sure that you pick the right bits for what you're doing. I've got 3 different cutters from Bits and Bits here. And at the end of the day, we're going to use them to make grooves, basically, except it's a groove or a dado or a mortise. So let's talk about the cutters, and then we're going to look at their applications to make sure you're using the right one in the right spot. So the 1/4 inch bit here on the end is an upcut spiral. When you look at the flutes on an upcut, they look like the flutes on a drill bit. That's how you're going to know that it's an upcut. What will happen when we use this cutter is it evacuates chips out of the cut. So that's a great choice for something like a mortise, because what that's going to do is it's going to help get the waste out of those deep, deep cuts as you're cutting, much the same way a drill bit does out of a hole. The 1/2 inch bit here is a down cut. So when you look at this, of course, a router bit always turns in the same direction, but the flutes are helicaled, is that a word, differently than the way they are on the upcut bit. So with this cutter, what that's going to do is create down pressure as you're cutting. So in something that's got a fragile veneer to it, a down cut bit is a really, really good choice because it helps reduce or eliminate chipping from that fragile veneer. The one on the end here gives you the best of both worlds. We've got a little bit of an upcut going here. We've got a little bit of a down cut going here. This is a compression cutter. So with a bit like this, we've got a couple things going on. It will help evacuate dust out of the cut. If we're going all the way through a board, and you could imagine a through cut on a CNC for that, we can get the upcut on the bottom, the exit side, the down cut on the top. So we're doing a really good job of preserving cut quality on both faces. Now it's important to understand with these that it doesn't pertain only to CNCs. Whether this is handheld, router table, or CNC, the rules of the road that we're talking about here apply to all 3. Let's have a look at some cutting applications and where we would choose to use each of these specific bits. This is a beautiful piece of bird's eye maple veneer, and bird's eye maple is very prone to chipping. So for a cut like this, especially in a veneered material, I'm choosing a down cut spiral bit. And as I said earlier, that down cut spiral is going to help put a little bit of down pressure on the cut. It's going to press the fibers down into this mortise as I'm cutting it. And that is what's going to give me really good cut quality on that top corner. It's amazing how clean this veneer comes out So for a fragile veneer, downcut spiral is a great choice. In a material like this red oak veneered plywood, I'm choosing a compression bit for this. Now again, what it's giving me is a little bit of upcut that's going to help evacuate dust out of the board. It's also giving me a downcut on the surface. Red oak veneer is another relatively fragile veneer, especially on a cross cut like I'm doing here. So it's going to give me really good cut quality across that face. The compression bit also shines in an application where you're cutting all the way through a board that's veneered both faces, giving you an upcut on the back of the board, a downcut on the front of the board, so we really get the best of both worlds. The other thing that's really important to keep in mind with our cutters is choosing the right RPM. So 16 to 18,000 RPM. And again, handheld, router table, or CNC, those rules of the road apply. So make sure you're using the right RPM for your cutter. On a mortise, like this cut, this is a blind cut, meaning that both ends are closed. As a result, it's difficult for the chips to evacuate out of a mortise. That makes this a really good choice for an upcut spiral bit. Again, just like a drill bit, that upcut spiral is helping chips and dust evacuate, lift out of the mortise so they don't jam in there. It's bringing chips out of the cut, which means it's also bringing heat out of the cut. So it's really important to remember that RPM setting, we want chips, not dust, so that it's evacuating and the chips are helping carry heat away, increasing the longevity of your bits. You can see how important it is to pick the right speed and the right bit for what you're doing. So we talked about upcut, downcut, compression bits, and when you pick the right cutter, you get really good cut quality. And again, it doesn't matter if it's handheld, CNC, router table, all the same information applies. Great cut quality, and I am going to show an example of that. I have got a beautiful piece of bird's eye maple veneer on this walnut board, and this is a great application for a downcut spiral, because what we're trying to do is protect that veneer from chipping out. So let's see what we get here. Always let that come to a stop on the work so it's safe. And you gotta, man, you know, it's like a knife sharp corner, not nice sharp, knife sharp corner on that veneer walnut junction there. And it's bird's eye maple,
Yep.
which like, let's pick a wood that's more prone to chipping than bird's eye maple. There aren't many.
You have to love that. There's just no getting around it.
Yeah, it's all about choosing the right cutter for what you're doing and having good quality bits that are gonna work for you. And then the other thing that's so important, we were chatting about it, is when you were driving here, you obeyed the speed limit, right?
I did.
And that's important with router bits too.
Got here safe and sound. It is. Safety and quality. The speed is really important.
And it's, I think CNC users are like looking at this all the time, meaning the RPM of the cutter. But for people who are using a handheld and router table, you gotta pay attention to that same thing, the RPM of the bit, in order to make sure you're optimizing the cut quality of the tool that you're using.
That's true.
Another showcase in the can, Paul. Did you have fun?
I had fun. I've got a lot of good ideas to take back to my shop.
Cool. And that's part of this, is getting those ideas out in front of people so that they can maybe take them back to their shop too.
Take it back to their shop and go shopping.
That's right. Because you can never have enough tools. Thanks so much for watching.